It's funny. Have you ever stopped to think that a truly meaningful life isn't really about a few big, splashy events? That it's actually built piece by piece, almost like an intricate piece of engineering? Well, let's dive into that idea, because today we're going to unpack some simple wisdom and find the blueprint for exactly that.
And here it is, the cornerstone for our whole discussion, from the writer Robert Brault. I'm sure you've seen this quote before, right? Maybe on a coffee mug or a framed print. It seems so simple, almost obvious. But hiding in that simplicity is a really profound truth about how we actually live our lives day to day. And what's so fascinating is how much this idea just connects with people. For years, people thought the famous novelist Kurt Vonnegut said this. And that tells you something, doesn't it? It shows that it doesn't really matter who the author is. The power isn't in some famous name, it's baked right into the words themselves.
So that brings us to the real challenge. It's a beautiful idea, for sure. But how do you actually apply it? I mean, our world is built around hitting targets, reaching goals, closing deals. We live by our calendars. So how on earth do we make space for these little things when we are so focused on just getting to the finish line? Okay, let's start by really diagnosing the problem here. We're living under what you might call the tyranny of the finish line. Think about it from a business perspective. If a CEO only ever focused on the big annual report and ignored the daily operations, the team morale, the small inefficiencies, well, that company would just rot from the inside out. Our lives are no different. And here, you can really see the two different worlds we're living in at the same time. On the left, you've got the big milestones we're all chasing, the promotions, the graduations, you name it. But look at the right. That's where life is actually happening. That first sip of coffee, a quick call from a friend, a beautiful sunset. These aren't just filler moments between the big stuff. They are the stuff.
From an engineering standpoint, this makes absolute sense. You would never, ever build a massive bridge but ignore a tiny little stress fracture on a critical support beam. Why? Because over time, that tiny overlooked weakness creates systemic risk. It could bring the whole thing down. A life that ignores the small joys, and the small stresses for that matter, is a life being built on a foundation full of invisible cracks.
So, the big question is, how do we shift our perspective? It really starts with a pretty simple revelation. These small moments aren't a distraction from your life, they are your life. We just have to relearn how to actually see them.
The source material we're looking at uses this beautiful forest analogy. We get so busy trying to find the tallest tree, the biggest achievement, that we completely miss the point. The soul of the forest, the whole experience, is in the way the light hits the leaves, the sounds, the smells. The details aren't just extra stuff, they are the entire experience. And this gets so real when we look back on our lives. Think about a parent, right? They're driven to succeed, working hard, planning those big family vacations. But years down the line, what are the memories that really glow? It's almost never the big strategic wins. It's the unplanned everyday stuff. The bedtime stories, the silly crayon drawing taped to the fridge. So, seriously, just take a second, think about it for yourself. When you look back, what are the moments that feel truly warm? The ones that really define a happy period in your life. I'll bet they're small, simple, and just beautifully ordinary. All right, so we get the why. Now let's get into the practical how. And the good news is this isn't some mystical gift that only a few people have. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's something you can develop. We can actually design an architecture for our own awareness. So what does this blueprint for awareness look like? Well, it's actually incredibly simple. It all starts with just choosing to slow down on purpose. It means putting the phone away during dinner so you can actually connect with the person sitting across from you. It's choosing to linger for a minute and taste your coffee, not just chug it for fuel. And finally, it's about giving these moments permission to actually matter, to let them count as a win for the day. The author of our source material, who goes by Papa, puts this with so much wisdom and frankly humility. This isn't about reaching some perfect state of mindfulness and then you're done. No way! It's a constant practice. It's a reminder we all need, a gentle course correction we have to keep making for ourselves over and over again. Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. This daily practice of being present, it's not just about feeling a little bit better today. It's about the long-term project of your life. It's about what you are fundamentally building with your time and attention. This right here is the key takeaway. Nobody is saying you shouldn't have big goals or chase your ambitions. Of course not. That's part of a full life.
The real shift is in understanding that a strong, rich life isn't built on a few massive pillars of achievement. It's built on the vast, solid foundation of thousands of well-lived moments. It's all about savoring the path. So, as we wrap up, here are a few practical questions to take with you. Don't try to change everything all at once. Just ask yourself, where's one place this week I can intentionally slow down? What's one ordinary little thing from today that I can just stop and appreciate right now? These are the kinds of questions that start to rewire our focus.
And we'll leave you with this one final thought. Every single moment you pay attention to, it's like you're laying down a single brick. And over a lifetime, all those little bricks create the structure you will live inside. So the only real question left is, what are you building, moment by moment?